Stupidity is not a competition. Unless you're a politician. The Daily Mojo.
Phil Bell is the Director of External Relations. You know, I noticed that we have External Affairs up as your...
yeah, I can fix that.
It's Director of External Relations.
Both of them work. It's funny. The actual documentation for when I signed and said, you know, I'll work here said relations, but my business card said affairs. So I usually just pick either one. It's too bad the affairs don't involve something Crawford. What?
Right.
But no.
Relations not in the biblical sense, I'm assuming.
Correct.
But then affairs, who knows? I mean, it's whatever. By the way, kudos on your morning updates. And people love them, and you do an amazing job. So we appreciate that.
Thank you for letting me do it. Great to be part of the family.
Are you kidding? It's 2 minutes. I have to say nothing, and it's always a win for me. So I don't know what you want to get into this morning. I'm assuming that it is the indictment, the fourth indictment of Trump. What are we aiming for here today?
Yeah, it's the fourth indictment of Trump, but it's not just that that they've indicted Trump. It's that, let's see who else going down the list of people here. You've got Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Mark Meadows. Let's see who else do they have here? Rudy Giuliani. You can't forget about Rudy Giuliani. I actually have to reread the whole thing to make sure my name isn't in there, or else I might have to report to the court. But Fanny, if you're listening, Fanny, I'm an election denier. I tried to overturn the election. I actually went to Georgia with the goal of overturning the 2020 election. So please indict me too.
Yeah, you and Stacey Abrams both.
Don't put me in the same jail cell. I want a different.
That would be cruel and unusual punishment. It really is. I got to tell you, because his name is on the indictment. But Giuliani, what do I think of him?
Well, he's been very interesting. He did a very good job as mayor, obviously.
Right.
But looking back, even before he was mayor, I'm a big fan of Michael Milken as an investment manager, as an investment banker. Not necessarily a philanthropist, but as those. And it looks like he did a lot of reckless prosecution there. So I'm not necessarily, enthralled with his legal capabilities, certainly after the 2020 election as well. But I do think he has a good heart. He means well, and he wants what's right for our country.
All right, but he was also the lawyer for Purdue Pharma during the whole OxyContin thing. Yeah. Which, to me, it's like, I mean, I know everybody has these lawyers who will represent mass murderers and murderers, et cetera, and everybody has a right to counsel, good counsel in a lawsuit. But when you, in Giuliani's case, are taking the side of Purdue Pharma in that situation, I don't know. It just seemed, and maybe I'm just I just don't understand a lot of things, but that tainted my view of him. So they've got these, what did you say, 18 co-conspirators or whatever they're naming them as. Dershowitz, he was on Fox News. Did you see what he had to say?
No, I didn't. I just saw the indictment came out and I saw the co-conspirators, so I'm still getting and digesting all of the info.
I want you to listen to this because he makes a good point here in the first, I think it's the first 30 seconds or so, regarding why they're doing what they're doing in Georgia.
Well, first of all, nobody should take at all seriously the fact that there was a grand jury indictment. It means nothing. It's the prosecutor who indicted. The best evidence of that is that it was on his website before the grand jury even voted. Now, the whole strategy of all these four cases is to get a conviction before the election, even if they're going to lose on appeal. I used to teach my students, many of them future prosecutors, if you bring a RICO case, that increases your chances of winning a trial and losing on appeal.
All right. So if that's in fact what they're doing, then it's just to throw down more tax in the road in Donald Trump's road to the presidency, right?
Correct. So let's think back to 2008. Rush Limbaugh. We love Rush Limbaugh. What did he promote? Called Operation Chaos. And Operation Chaos was, let's go vote for crooked Hillary in other states to slow her down. Now, it was a perfectly reasonable thing to do. It's using your power to vote for a good purpose. Slow down Barack Obama. Now, this is also Operation Chaos, but it's done in a different way, a malevolent way. It's designed to slow down Donald Trump. It's also designed to disempower individuals who might think differently. I don't think we really grasp how bad this is. I don't worry about the charges. I don't worry about the DA. I don't worry about convictions, in large part because, as you notice, everything gets progressively worse. You start with Alvin Bragg going with documents, and then the next thing you have is maybe some hidden documents at Mar-a-Lago, and then after that, you've got someone else with Jack Smith, which we're not even sure what Jack Smith is going for, but he's got a little something there. Right. And suddenly now you have 18 co-conspirators and RICO charges and so on. If you notice, as things get bigger, usually that means that the public is losing confidence, and so things are more likely to collapse. But the idea that you can have in this country someone get shaken down for their political views after they're out of office, be harassed by lawyers, be harassed by the police, that means, yes, that's right. Fewer people will want to run, and even fewer people want to do anything meaningful to change, adjust, modify, even in a small way. Because think about it, if you make one person angry, that one person might have the ear of a small, one-horse town DA who can decide, you know what, I'm going to put the governor in jail because he lowered the tax rate by 0.2%, which is somewhat what happened to Rick Perry in Texas. That's what's so scary here.
That's a really good point because, I've always said I would never run for public office because of the anal exam that you get as soon as you declare you throw your hat into the ring. And this is like the ultimate anal exam of all time. And the fact that we've all seen what he did. I mean, this is like the Ukraine letter or the Ukraine phone call all over again. If this was such a crime, if it was such a crime, why weren't these charges brought 2 years ago? 3 years ago.
That was the goal. See, if they could say, all right, well, maybe he won't run again. Maybe we'll be done with him. Maybe those MAGA supporting people will just go find something else to do. They'll accept their higher taxes. They'll move on, which, by the way, was a reasonable supposition on their part, because if you notice, every time that pro-freedom and free market movements have been slowed down, we've typically run away. We've not run away, but said, okay, well, we didn't succeed there, so we'll let it go. Maybe we'll come back a little bit later and try something else, and then everything is forgotten and rules and regulations pile on. But that didn't happen this time. You saw people who support Trump and support freedom, support liberty, become more aggressive. You saw Trump not go away. You saw those voices continue. So that's why they did this, because 2016 and what happened in those 4 years was an existential threat, and they're worried it could happen again.
That is, and again, if Trump did nothing else, he red-pilled a lot of people, and he exposed the deep state. And remember, deep state, believing that there was a deep state was a conspiracy theory several years ago. It was like believing in little green men. Fast forward to now, and gosh, not only is there a deep state, but we're being told by said deep state that there are little green men, which is really fascinating in and of itself. It's like, hey, so I mean, he exposed or allowed them to expose themselves in that sense, and I think a lot of people. There are hopefully enough people that saw that and went, holy crap, this is really bad. What's happening inside the government? What's happening with these agencies? And it's my belief that these people aren't going to back down no matter what. I mean, it almost, and it may come to this, it's almost as though Trump really could shoot somebody at high noon on Park Avenue. and he would still get elected. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Well, no, I think you're right. Now, I don't quite think we're as far along as I'd hope, and that's where you would have a lot of Americans say, okay, listen, I really, really need to participate in my government. They may not necessarily be Trump fans, and they may not necessarily want to go vote Republican or call themselves conservative, but hey, I want to participate in my government and make sure that people are going in the right direction. And we're not there yet, but we have started that process. And so that's why it's up to each of us to say, number one, continue to talk about it. And that means even if you're having conversations where, perhaps the person is a little bit more interested in, paying a higher tax rate or so forth, some of the things that we look at and just say are absolutely antithetical, say, hey, listen, you know what? We're never going to agree on these things. But what we can agree on is that the government has to be responsive. They have to listen to you as much as they have to listen to me. And they have to take everything that we're saying into account and make decisions that reflect that. So if we start from that base, then what we're going to get to is, as you start to see the overreach, as they start to see it coming from voices other than ours, they're going to say, oh my gosh, you know what? This really is a problem. And while it might feel good to support this liberal idea or this left-wing idea, the end result of that is going to be here, where I have no say over my government whatsoever.
Do you think that despite this, or let me ask it this way, do you think this is going to cause Trump's popularity to rise even higher?
I do. I think it will continue to, because I think they're really going to do the same thing that happened with Bill Clinton in the 1990s, because we, of course, did not want to put him in prison. We just want him to get out of office. We had everything. We had all these facts. He did this, Lewinsky. Well, what happened? He got more popular. He was pretty popular at that point, but not a world beater. But then everybody loved him. And what was the result? A lot of the things that he did, including cheating on his wife and so forth, they suddenly became not so bad anymore because people liked Clinton. Right. It went to that level. So you think about, I do think you put Trump on TV in Georgia, listening to these ridiculous charges, these ridiculous prosecutors, these ridiculous efforts, people are going to become more a fan of Trump. And a lot of the things that Trump does, in his case, are positive, good ideas, good policies. That's going to be a winner. So I'm not at all upset. Bring on the MAGA, Fannie Willis.
Right. It's just, we live in truly bizarre times, and they don't seem to be getting any less bizarre. They keep doubling down for. It feels like we're building up to something huge. Maybe this is what. Try this one on for size. They finally bring out the crashed UFO and the little green men, and they stand them up there, and they say, something to the effect of, Trump raped one of our little green women here, and they'll try to bring that. Would that surprise you?
Just before the acquittal, but halfway joking aside, exactly. Why are we at the point where they're accepting the idea of alien landing and they want to promote it in official government channels?
He beats me. I've given up on trying to figure anything out anymore. It's all just bizarre. All right, why do people need to get involved with FreedomWorks?
You want the insanity to end. You see the insanity that's here. You want actual freedom. Join FreedomWorks. Become a member of a freedom team. Get involved. Oversee your government. That's the idea. Then we're going to have success.
You got it. There he is. Phil Bell is the Director of External Relations and Affairs over at Affairs at Freedom. He has all the fun over at freedomworks.org.
The First Amendment lives here. Watch and listen at thedailymojo.com.